Welcome to GoldBoys Live, presented by Pickett Sports Sleeper Picks Hall of Fame Bets. A full house today. Josh, Brian, Brad. We got a bunch of day games going on after nothing yesterday. Phillies up 2-0 on Atlanta, scoreless Minnesota and Cincy, and then the White Sox and the Nats about to get started in a game that everybody's going to be watching. Boys, what's going on? I guess we'll start. Brian, do you have anything in these early games here?
Not really. So I actually was really sad if the in the early games in the group chat we have together. I kind of sent that thing about Christian Javier, and I was sending the group chat saying, "Wow, it's really weird. There's over 2.5 earned runs was -155, but the F5 for the Orioles was +120." And I bet the +120, thinking it was a weird misprice, and I was going to talk about it in the show. That +120 is now -135, so it didn't really last for the show. So I don't know if I would take it at -135 when it's moved 55 cents in the last 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a few. A few of them are later. I played the Jays on the money line over the Yankees. I just think those are different level teams with Gossman going against King. King's been impressive, but like, come on, if you're trying to get in the playoffs, you need to beat the Yankees, which is a funny thing to say. But I did play that. I played
What'd you
under
get
two and a half. What's
Real
that?
quick, what'd you get that number at? Because I hit it 2 at -120. Did you get a better number than that?
110. I might have played
Oh,
it
yeah.
last night.
How that's crazy for Gosman to be starting.
Yeah,
but
it is. It is. I agree.
Cool.
I agree. And I played first 3 under 2.5 with Senga and Uri Perez. I didn't like the 3.5 on the first 5, but look, those are two. Senga's been awesome. Like, as bad as the Mets have been, Senga's been awesome. Perez is going to be like a Cy Young contender at some point in his career. So they'll probably get a run or two early, but asking him to get 3 runs in the first 3 innings, asking a lot. So I played that. And then I played under 4.5 with Steele against Keller, Pirates, Cubs. So that should be another like 2-1.
I like Steele today. I think Steele might be a fun like player performance double stuff angle too, because this is the part of the year where I like to do player performance doubles against teams that just have nothing really to play for. Because you mentioned the first 5 angle, but we mentioned before, if Mitch Keller, if he is out there like the 6th, 7th inning, they might just let him pitch, which could really become problematic if he goes a little too long or too overextended in those late innings. So I was looking at this. I went back to Cubs today.
He just went 8 scoreless against the Cubs. Did Keller?
Yeah.
Like I don't know, hit like 2 starts ago for him.
I think it might have been his last start, but
they've been so bad against righties, the Cubs, that I really wanted to like hit them pretty hard, but because I think Steele's going to have an absolute masterclass, I would even just go for Steele like under if you can get to 2.5 runs or something like that. But yeah, we're all on the same kind of angle for that Pirates Cubs game. Just need the Cubs to win, man. Come on.
I'm curious what you have, Brad. Are you guys paying attention? How good are these playoff races? I mean, all of these races,
they're so good.
All these NL teams, like, who's going to get? You know what I hate is how the season. We were talking about this yesterday. The season ends on a Sunday, so like we're all going to be watching football. People are going to not be paying attention to that final day, but that final day could be absolutely wild with just all the potential.
We went through that yesterday. Yeah,
there were like 8 spots up for grab or something. They were saying like,
yeah. That Sunday is going to have like 3 games that are going to matter a ton and be super interesting. We rattled them off yesterday. I forget what they were, but I know the Astros are going to be involved in one, and then could be Phillies needing something there as well. And then the other game that'll be really interesting, Cubs Brewers was the other one as well.
Yeah. So. Did you get any? Did you get any action, Will, from that? I think it was one of the shows earlier I was watching. I forget what network, but about the Twins to get the 2nd seed. Did you get any action on that bet?
I didn't.
DraftKings hung a bad line.
Oh no! What was it?
That. It was they had them to get the 2nd seed. I think it was. I put $20 to win $2,000. So it's a long shot. It's a long shot, but. I mean, they just have to have the tiebreaker over the Astros and the Rangers.
How many back?
4 games back. What?
That's a crazy number.
I just think it's one of those things where the Astros, Rangers, and Seattle play each other like the rest of the way. They all play each other, so it's impossible for all of them to get wins. And the Twins play the Angels, A's, and the Rockies. So I have a fun 100-1. Long shot for them to get that 2 seed, so it'd be fun to watch.
I didn't get that text message, by the way, that hey, there's a bad line. Bet this. I mean, I would love.
In my defense, I bet it because it was in one of these servers, and it went from 100-1 to I think like 40-1, like really quick. It was one of those things where by the time I got it out,
but geez, that's a hell of a find. Probably not going to hit, but still at 100-1.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I actually couldn't get anything down on DraftKings for it, but they have that risk-free token thing. It let me use that on it, so that's why it's 20 to win $2,000 or whatever it was, and I think it moved to like almost 40-1. I mean, so I'm a huge Twins fan now.
That's the great part about betting. You just adopt these teams with your bets.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you wake up one morning not knowing, like, hey, I just become a huge Minnesota Twins fan. Kirby Puckett,
Like,
Johan Santana.
like,
Let's go.
tell me why on a 3 p.m. on a random Wednesday I'm going to be cheering every time the Orioles score a run against the Astros. I don't know, but it's gonna happen. The A's beat the Mariners today. I'm happy. Like,
Right. No,
But only if they beat him like of the walk-off, because I took Kirby over 17.5 pitching outs. Like I want it to be like 0-0 in the 7th inning, and then the A's go for you, you know?
all right, we can do that.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Brad, do you have anything in the slate today?
I took George Kirby, but I think that number's like destroyed now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's minus 165 for him to get at least 17.5 pitching outs. I mean, at least 18.
I mean, there's so many different ways to play. I look at it this way, and I think I've said this before, but odds to make the playoffs, and they might have pulled these just because the games have started, but at least like an hour ago, Rangers were plus 160 to miss. Mariners were plus 160 to miss. Like you said, they're both playing each other a lot. Toronto's probably going to get in. Like that's his Hunter Green with another strikeout to get out of it. He's got 6 or 7 strikeouts. That game's still scoreless.
God.
But I just can't see Texas and Seattle both getting in. So I think if you play plus both of them at plus 160 each to miss, like you're probably going to turn a profit. I don't think Houston's going to fall out of the playoffs.
That's a good idea.
They're both at 68 losses, but Houston's got 3 games with Kansas City here. I know they haven't played well. And Kansas City actually beat them a few times last week, but I feel like Houston's going to get in. I feel like it comes down to either Texas or Seattle for the last 5. I just feel like if you bet both no, you'll turn a profit. It's not like you're tying up your money for months or 3 months. The season ends in 2 weeks here, so it's right around the corner. I would recommend.
Wait, how would you do that at plus 160 for both of them?
So Seattle's plus 160 to miss the playoffs. Texas is plus 160 to miss the playoffs. So if you bet both of them no at plus 160, one of them is going to hit, I think.
Right.
Makes
Okay,
sense.
that's fair.
So
Or you could just take the,
you
the
still win a
Twins
little
to
bit.
win it all. I mean, I don't know. It's just,
or you can do that.
Yeah, with Bailey Ober on the mound. Does anyone say Dodgers? Because I took their run line, minus 105.
Never a bad bet.
Yo,
Yeah.
how epic was that Dodgers walk-off last night? I bet it.
Did they
them.
walk it off?
Oh my God, yeah, man. Mookie Betts slid into home like literally a millisecond perfect timing, and then I went to bed. It was so
That's so funny you say that because betting is such a funny thing where I'm sure it's electric, and I'm sure if I stayed up, I would have been hating myself. But I placed a bet on them live to win when they were down 2-0, and I just fell asleep. And I woke up, checked my account, I was like, "Oh, cool, they won. All right, move on with the day." I didn't even check to see what happened, but it's so funny sometimes where I think people feel like watching the games has a direct impact on it, but sometimes you have to realize it really doesn't. Sometimes you can just let it be.
But then
I
how are
didn't
you
even
going to tell
watch
them
the
what to
game
do?
until it was. I don't think I watched it until it was the 8th inning. I think, like that's when I started watching. Yeah, I started watching at the top of the 8th, and then I was like, okay, we might as well watch this.
Castellanos another home run, 4-0.
Yeah,
Hey, wow,
man, there must have been something in the air today. Holy hell!
I know
Jesus.
there's tragedy incoming.
Yeah.
This is the fear with betting on the Bravos, just blindly to like win things once they get into the playoffs. Bryce Elder doesn't look good.
I don't think he'll see the ball in a playoff
Yeah.
spot.
No, he won't. No way.
Not just him though, but I mean,
I know.
pitching in
No, these
general,
pitchers have been like Morton, even Strider's had his weird moments. Like Strider will have these moments where he's cruising in like the 6th inning, nobody can touch him, and you look up and he gives up 3 runs. Like yesterday, he got a shutout. There was 1 out, nobody on, an 0-2 count.
And then
in
Bryce
6, and he
took
turned
him,
around 3 minutes later, there's 3 runs on the board. Like, what happened? He's had a bunch of these blow ups. So I agree, they're not like the Braves are the best team, and maybe they're a little bored. And once the playoffs start, they'll they'll hit a different gear. But they have not looked like the Braves in a long time.
Who would you bet to win? Because like I already have the Braves. Like I'm not betting anyone else. But like if I were to be adding a ticket, who would you bet? Like outside of the Braves, like that's like.
Let me get the odds up. I'd have to see the odds
because like we complain about like the Braves pitching, right? But like. Then we compare it to everyone else's pitching, and we're like,
right.
Ooh.
I mean, you're saying who could beat him or who could win the World Series?
Who could win the World Series?
Oh, that's a different story. Yeah,
the Astros are still 6-1. That's my ticket. That's my favorite ticket.
I mean, any of these teams could win it, but as far as like, all right, who's a good bet to win it? I mean,
yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, would you be shocked if Philly won the World Series? I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if any of these teams really won the World Series. I guess, but you make a good point. The Orioles don't have typical pitching for a team that wins it all. They're 7-1. Yeah. The Rays have had a million injuries, suspensions. They're 9-1. Rangers are 16-1. They've had, it's funny. These teams, they go on these long losing streaks, these long winning streaks. I remember when I was away, I was actually in Florida. Texas went on a streak where they lost for like a week and a half every single day. Then they bounced back and they're playing well. So I don't have a great answer for you in terms of like value.
Okay.
I mean, I'll read the odds and you guys let me know if you guys see anything that jumps out that's worth a bet. Braves plus 320, Dodgers plus 425, Astros 6-1, Orioles 7-1, Rays 9-1, Mariners 14-1, Rangers 16-1, Phillies 16-1, Twins 17-1, Jays 19-1. Okay, maybe. Brewers 19-1. No thanks. Diamondbacks 45-1. Now you're getting into teams that you don't even know if we're going to make it. Miami 55-1. They've got pitching to bother somebody if they get in, but I can't see them actually winning it. Cubs 55-1. Reds 100-1. I guess I'll stop there. Padres 800-1 if you're if you want to light some money on fire. They've played well. I don't know. You guys hear anything that jumps out to you?
I really hope the Padres win it all now, just for that one soundbite we have of Will. Just if you want to let money on fire.
Who did I take at 100-1? Let me see. Or was that football?
I mean, what are we betting on? Just like bats getting hot? Because whose pitching staff do you trust the most? I don't think there's like a clear-cut best pitching staff for one thing.
Comes down to bullpen, something like that.
Yeah. So who do you trust the most at that point?
I mean, I'm just looking at it in terms of the number. There's nothing here, and I think we did this yesterday with this. What was it? First touchdown score the other night. We're just like, none of these numbers are any good. Crazy. I don't see any numbers that are great.
No, I don't have
19-1.
Yeah, you don't get to anything good until you get to the Diamondbacks at 45-1,
and they're not. I mean,
they're not. You're getting 17-1 on a Mariners team that is somehow a game out of a second place spot and also half a game out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like the Mariners would take my bet, but then you could literally lose it before the playoffs even start.
Yeah. Right, you could you're better off just playing them to make the playoffs and playing them round by round, which I think you're at the point of the season where you're so close to the playoffs where you can just go round by round and roll it over. So I don't see a great bet here. I really don't.
Okay.
Anything else on baseball? You guys want to do a little football?
Yeah, let's do a little football.
I already have a bet in for tomorrow.
All right, we'll get to that. I made an MVP bet on the NFL. I want to see if you guys can guess it. I don't have to sit here and guess all day. I'm curious if you guys can peek into my mind, get a window into my mind if you know me well enough. This is kind of off brand. I don't think you'll guess it, but I'm curious. It's
off brand for you.
A little bit. Like if you told me a week ago, a month ago, I was going to have this player at MVP, I would have had a hard time believing it.
It
is not Dak Prescott.
It is not Dak Prescott.
Josh, what's your guess?
It is not that. So
I have no idea.
I mean, the only two guys I could think of, one Brad guessed, the other one is Josh Allen.
Okay. Brian, what do you got?
It's the only other quarterback. Unless you just put
give me I want to get, like I said, off the cuff. Just give me a Brock Purdy.
Yes, there you go.
Is it Brock Purdy?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. I know Will better than everybody. It's like the newlywed game.
I'll make my case here.
Make your case. I need to hear it.
He's on a team that might be 14-3, 13-4. Who knows? They got the talent to go 15-2. If you're the quarterback of a 14-3 team, you got a chance to win the MVP. He's got every weapon under the sun. There's the narrative there since he was undrafted free agent of like, this is a great story. And if you look at the other MVP candidates, Mahomes has diminished weapons. There's voter fatigue. We saw that with Jokic. Allen already had a 4-turnover game on prime time. Herbert's 0-2. Burrow's hurt. Rodgers is out. Lamar and Tua are injury prone. I mean, if he's on a 14-3 team and he's got a good offensive coach, he plays in good weather. Like, I know he doesn't have the gaudy passing yard stats, but I don't know. At 22-1, I could have gotten 50-1 before the season, but I think it's a decent bet. I think he's legitimately good. I know we talked before the season, like maybe there's some regression. Who knows?
The problem I see with that is he has the same stat line as Sam Howell.
And Sam Howell's the best quarterback in the league right now. I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't worry about the stats yet. I mean, he doesn't have any interceptions. He doesn't have any losses. I think you can get a little leeway with the yardage.
His team is so good.
So good.
I don't think them going 14-3 is going to be attributed to him. That's the problem. I mean, my main thing is the 2 points that you made that I think hurt you the most are Pat Mahomes has no weapons, and he has every weapon under the sun and the best defense in the league. How much is a 14-win season going to be attributed to him?
They always give it to the quarterback. I mean, it's going to be the quarterback. It's always a quarterback.
Yeah,
except the way McCaffrey's playing right now. McCaffrey's playing at Offensive Player of the Year level.
Yeah,
sure. But
I was about to say McCaffrey, but I knew you picked a quarterback.
No, I would bet a quarterback. I'd prefer betting McCaffrey at 5-1 for Offensive Player of the Year.
I will say the one thing you do have on your side is we talk about whether he'll get the credit 14-3, whatever it is, but if you're looking at, like, say, like 15-2, if they
Right.
happen to go that far into it, that
Oh,
that
man.
extra win is a whole extra animal. Where it's just if you're just that much better than everybody else, it gets to that point.
And
Adrian
plus the
Peterson
narrative.
was the
Yeah,
last-
2012.
Yeah.
Plus,
Excuse me,
their
sorry.
narrative of like he's the last pick in the draft, and writers love that stuff. It's a good story, and like I don't think this is. What's that?
I just see it the other way with the writers. I feel like being Mr. Irrelevant hurts you because they're like
No,
Mr.
I don't think
Irrelevant is
so.
not the best play, is not the
Nah.
MVP of the league.
I think it makes for a good story.
He's hoisted into a situation where like if he
He's
fails,
good.
it's
Nah,
just
he's
sucks.
good. He's pretty
Yeah.
I
good.
think I'm gonna parlay Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year. Let me see. Are you? Oh, you have to do it with another award.
By the way, I don't think this is like, oh my god, this is the greatest bet ever. And how is this
No, no,
22-1? This is
No,
insane.
no.
I just look. I saw the number. I
dig
bet
it.
it. I could talk
I
myself
get it.
into a case for
I
it.
get it. I get it. Like you don't have to tell me about it. Like I get everything you're saying. I just wanted to be devil's advocate for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And yeah, we mentioned those. And again, like Herbert's 0-2, Burrow's hurt. That's another one I bet. I don't know if I mentioned it yesterday. Oh, I think we talked about it, right? Bengals under 9.5 wins. I just don't see like if Burrow, if this calf is going to linger. They still have to play the Bills, the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Ravens again, the Steelers twice. Like getting to 10 wins with a banged up quarterback. Like I don't know. And the market doesn't think he's playing this week. Do you guys think he's playing this week? Because they're -1 against the Rams. Like if he was playing, they wouldn't be -1 at home in a must-win game.
I think nobody knows, and that's a big part of it. Even if he does play, I think the market still wants to bet against him at that point with how bad he's looked, with how hobbled he is, and then he got more hobbled. What did you get that? Was that an alt total, or did you just take what the base offer was for?
They update them. They update them every week, the win totals.
Yeah. I just didn't know if you could still take an alt, so I didn't know if that was a.
No. That's the standard. It's -125 or 130 or something.
Okay.
It's nothing crazy.
Wow.
Okay, I have my bet that I'm going to take. I'm going to put it in. Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year, Micah Parsons, Defensive Player of the Year, and Bijan Robinson, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'm okay if it loses because I also have Anthony Richardson, Offensive Player of the Year. It's 63-1.
You have Anthony Richardson, Offensive Rookie of the Year, just so everyone knows what you're saying.
Yeah, what'd I say?
You said player.
I always do that. Offensive Rookie of the Year at 9-1.
It happens.
How about we did our draft with all our awards? Nobody had Puka Nacua as Offensive Rookie of the Year, so that might be one. We should do a little recap show one time because I can't remember.
No one had Puka Nacua at all.
I can't remember who I bet in all these different markets, so it'll be interesting. Like
Tone Stamp has the sheet. We can definitely pull it up.
Yeah, maybe week 4 we'll take a look.
Mike McDaniel. None of my guys are trending well. Like, let's just put it that way.
Hey, man.
Sports, GoldBoys Live. Do you guys have anything game tomorrow? San Fran's laying 10. I hate laying 10.
You want me to give you guys an update?
Yeah.
On everybody we picked? So
I have Christian Gonzalez.
For MVP, Brian has Hurts, Herbert, Goff, Tua, Carr, Jamar. He has the favorite right now, by the way.
Hey, I do. I forgot I had Tua. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he just drafted Bama guys.
Will has Mahomes, Lamar, Kirk. Kirk was his third MVP pick. Deshaun, oh God, burn that. Oof. Marcus Mariota and Mike White.
Marcus
I forgot
Mariota.
you went with Mike White. By week 8, Will's gonna be like fucking Mike White.
Like, I was sober when I did this.
Will's last 4 picks are Kirk, Deshaun, Marcus Mariota, and Mike White.
I mean,
all right, Brad.
For those who weren't watching, the value is built in, so you get more bang for your bucks. But man, that's talk about a stretch.
You need Mac Jones to get hurt. Where's Mike White?
Marcus Mariota. He's on the Dolphins.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's a pretty good ticket.
Actually, I remember this because all of Will's picks is just preying on my guy's downfall. That's what it is. He is all my backups.
Brad has Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson. Hey, Russell Wilson, third best fantasy quarterback right now. Matthew Stafford.
I am not dead. Holy crap. Wow, I am not dead at all. These are all great picks. Josh Allen, 3rd favorite. Trevor Lawrence, 5th favorite. Matt Stafford, 8th for
How is Lawrence the 5th? Lawrence is the 5th favorite. Did anyone watch the game the other day?
Preseason. This is all preseason odds.
Right now he's the 4th favorite. 5th favorite.
Oh my God.
1, 2, 3.
That's dumb. Josh has Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers. I'm not reading the rest of these.
Josh with a hot start there. Might as well just taking Mike White for the bag.
I wish I had a Mike White ticker right now. Damn.
That's a tough one. What do you guys like tomorrow? I'm inclined to lay it with San Francisco. I just think Giants without their best weapon, 2 road games in a short amount of time. They had to use a lot of energy to come back and beat Arizona. I mean, they got outscored 60-0 the first how many quarters. I just think San Fran, I could see a 38-13 type of game. I hate laying 10 in the NFL. You're just always liable to the back door, like we saw the other night with Panthers Saints. But man, if there's a game to lay, and if you're into these 10-point teasers, like I don't know, a 10-point teaser with the 49ers, the Chiefs to 2.5 over the Bears, and then the Cowboys to -2 over Arizona. I mean, usually 10-point teasers aren't a good bet, but there's a time and a place for everything. I kind of can.
At least it
like,
crossed over because it did open at 10.5. So at least you got that 0.5.
You can get down to
push.
3. Yeah. Splitting tens here.
What's his name? Goody. I like Goody over 1.5 field goals, and I like laying the 10.
Who is Goody?
The kicker
Not the
for
Giants.
the kickers for the 49ers.
Oh, because who did they? Oh, they had Moody, but Moody got hurt, right? The Michigan kicker.
What's this guy's name? It's Boot. Why am I drawing a blank right now?
Is it David Akers still?
No.
Dude, I miss David Akers. The league
Me
misses
too,
David
man.
Akers.
We need more
Everybody
lefty kickers. We need more lefty everything. We
it is Jake Moody. It is Jake.
He was
Moody.
just
Moody,
funny
okay.
too. Yeah, he was just a funny guy as well.
What's the Giants team total at?
16.5, right?
Ooh, is it 16.5?
I believe so.
That's low, but I don't know if it's low enough.
How are they going to score, dude? Like, there was Saquon and Daniel Jones running.
I
agree. But like the Niners aren't like shut you out of the game defense. Like they're the kind of defense that just wears you down. Like we saw it with the Rams, like where it just got so tiring. Like the Rams just started making mistakes. They were moving the ball, but like
they were
you can only withstand that kind of pressure so long.
I think I'm going to bet that. Plus, like the 49ers, once they get a lead, they're just going to be conservative and they're going to milk. They're going to have long drives where it's just 4 yards, 6 yards, 8 yards, and they just bleed the clock. They get conservative late, so you're probably not going to. I mean, you can always get a defensive touchdown, a fumble, anything can happen. But I'll put it this way: barring a defensive score, I don't see the Giants getting to 17 points.
So, Will, can I add on to what you just brought up there? With I bet this twice already this year, and I bet it again tomorrow. I already put it in the Discord. I took Brock Purdy under 29.5 passing attempts for the exact reason you just said. This team, they love to just get a lead, especially to get a team like this, where they should be up by a lot. Once they have a lead, they just bleed so much clock, and it's not through intermediate passing. It's just through their offensive line, and they have McCaffrey, and they're going to involve was it Elijah Mitchell more. I just think they're going to run the ball so much in this kind of a game script. I just don't see a way where he gets 30 pass attempts unless you do what you just said, which is the Giants somehow getting a defensive touchdown or somehow a quick change of the script.
Why is it at 29.5?
I don't know. It was 32.5 week 1. It was 28.5 last week. I just keep betting it.
What did he throw for? And last week was competitive.
Last week was 25 last week.
29 the first week, 25 last week. Yeah.
Yeah. It was 28.5 last week. And my thing is he's only attempted 7 pass attempts in the fourth quarter so far this year. I just don't know if that's
you want to talk about a defensive touchdown happening. Like the Giants offensive line is riddled with holes at this point. Like Daniel Jones is going to be running the ball at this point.
Oh my
God, good luck, my friend. So I don't think Brock Purdy throws 5 times in the fourth quarter.
In the reports where Barkley's out a few weeks, and Dable said the other day, hey, he's trending towards maybe he can be a game time decision. I just feel like that's gamesmanship to try to mess with the game plan.
Yeah.
I don't.
Roger Goodell hit him up and was like, we need people to watch this game. Please tell them Saquon.
Well, I just think if you're Dable, say, hey, make him game plan for Barkley. I mean, whatever advantage that is, I would 100 to 1. I wouldn't take him playing tomorrow. I don't think there's any chance he plays.
Yeah,
no chance.
I'll also add this, which I think is a funny, not a funny stat, but an interesting stat I added on to my analysis in GoldBoys Discord is Giants already have 8 penalties this year on defense, which is kind of an interesting stat that you like if you're betting under on things like attempts, because pass interference, defensive holding, face mask, like that kind of stuff is perfect for a team that's not super disciplined. Because I did it last week with Jordan Love. First play of the game was a 40-yard pass, but pass interference. I had it under attempts. So those kind of chunk plays for free also help.
Clean Money Gibbs says, I saw Dable is taking over play calls, maybe Jones rushing yards over. That's not a bad angle.
I gave that out. Wow. I'm so sorry. I don't know what the number is. I gave that out in my channel.
I think it's 35.5.
Yeah, something like that. It's a good angle. He's hitting back to back. It also helps when you have a team that's putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They tend to get those scrambles where they move up in the pocket when the pressure's coming from the ends. So you get like, I don't call them free yards, but you get like those free rushes.
Would you
13
worry? And
attempts
just to
week
play
1, right?
devil's advocate, wouldn't San Fran be a bad team for a rushing quarterback just because their linebackers are so good? They're just so athletic on defense, or is that
No, because like when you're feeling pressure and you can't throw the ball away, you tend to scramble, scramble more than it's not like saying we think that Daniel Jones is going to be out there trucking people. It's just he's going to have more opportunities.
Yeah.
And then you don't
I'm
lose
pretty
yards.
sure he ran the ball 13 times week 1 because I bet his rushing over last week.
Yeah.
And when I saw 13 attempts in a single game for a quarterback, I was almost shocked by it.
Coaches don't think like this, but if I was Dable, man, I mean, you go in, you try to win the game, obviously, in the NFL, anyone can win. They were a playoff team last year. I would worry about Jones getting hurt in this game. I have a bad offensive line. It's a short
We
week.
didn't care against Dallas down 40-0.
I know. No, I know. That's why I'm saying coaches don't care like this. But if I were a Giant fan, I'd be like, just get my quarterback out of here healthy because you could lose your season to San Fran is so big and so fast and so like physical on defense, and you got a bad offensive line. I don't want my guy getting just his head knocked off every other play here. That's just something, again, these coaches don't think that way. It's something I'm thinking of, but I don't know. Just thought it was interesting.
No, I agree. I also was going to say to add on to my point about Purdy's under, but also to parlay into, they mentioned they want to get Mitchell involved more, so you might see a little bit less McCaffrey on a short week. I think if the books offer some Mitchell lines, I might dabble in those because so far no book is offering it. But I do believe in the fact that Coach B can be so, hard to read into. But when he said that he wants to get him more involved and he was mistaken by not getting involved last week, I do think on a short week they might like to get him a lot more carries and save McCaffrey in a game like this.
Yeah, exactly. If you're San Fran, hey, and it plays to your Purdy under passing attempts angle, like, hey, let's get out of here with a win. And again, coaches probably don't think like this, but let's get our 10, 13, 17-point lead. Hand the ball off. We don't need McCaffrey getting whacked. We don't need our quarterback.
And Mitchell's a guy that can do that. Mitchell's a guy that I think people forget. He can get like these 12 carry games and move the chains. He's a very talented player. Yeah,
running backs always been, with both Shanahans, that's always been their thing, is the running backs have been interchangeable, dating back to when Mike Shanahan was with the Broncos. Anything else NFL-wise catch your guys' eye this week? A lot of big spreads. Dallas -12 against the Cardinals. Chiefs huge favorites against the Bears. Ravens big favorites against the Texans. There's a lot of huge spreads. Vikings Chargers in just the most comical game ever. I'm excited to see how that unfolds. That's a good teaser, I think, for whoever's the dog, which is the Chargers now. Anything else catch your eye?
I'm gonna tease. Which game was it? Why am I drawing a blank?
I like a Ravens Steelers teaser.
Really?
Ravens I went 2, Steelers up to 8.5 against the Raiders.
I went Ravens Bills. I went Ravens Bills teaser. Both get the wins there.
Yeah.
I think the Commanders offense is fun, but like their team has been a lot less desirable in terms of than what I thought. I was like pretty high on them. I think I took their win total 6.5. I took their win total over, which they're on great track for it. Don't get me wrong, but I think they lose. Pretty big.
Yeah. I think the Bills are still going to be a little bit undervalued 1-1, losing to Jets, where like emotional, weird game. Jets lose Rodgers. Their defense goes bananas. Allen turns the ball over too much. Not worried about that. Yeah, I teased them as well, and bet them under 7 already as well. I think they're pretty good for that one.
What's the line movement been on that?
It opened at 6.5.
There were some 7s briefly, I think.
Were there?
Yeah,
I only saw 6.5, but maybe it open right at 7.
I feel like check my bet slip.
The Commanders, dude.
6.5.
They've gone away with stuff. I mean, I think they basically tried to throw up all over themselves, and the other team threw back up on them instead.
I get like hyping up your old OC, but I'm just so confused like where all the like Bieniemy hype is. Like, sure, they looked better than they were last year, but like the way we're hyping him up is like he just like reinvented the wheel. It's like this amazing play caller. Like I'm not seeing it.
Not there with it. Yep.
Braves team totals at 4.5. I'm kind of tempted to take the 4.5 over.
Yeah, Aaron Nola, classic 3-inning masterclass.
Yeah, I mean he's a frustrating guy to figure out sometimes.
You mentioned earlier about trusting pitching stats, this and that. The Phillies last year had a great playoff run because once they got into the playoffs, they had a great 3-man rotation they can run. This year, they just don't have it. I don't know how you expect them. I mean, you have Suarez who's going to be in there. So Wheeler's a given, but I don't know who the third guy is to put in that rotation. Aaron Nola has been so shaky this season.
Yeah, he has. He definitely has. We got 1-0 Reds, 4-1 Phillies. As what is
my
it?
Twins are down.
I took the Reds here. I don't think I gave it out. I didn't take the Reds.
Well,
You took your Twins, but
I have no action on the Twins today.
Yeah,
I just
but you kind
overall,
of doing that.
I would just root for them.
Right. Yeah. Anything else catch your eye for this week?
Let me give this play out because the line's going to move. Sam Hartman over 240 passing yards, 240 and a half passing yards against Ohio State this weekend. This is just a classic spot where we're going to have two teams that are going to be duking it out. But Ohio State, like, despite their numbers, I think they're like 50th in EPA per pass and like maybe 55th in defensive success rate against the pass. Their defensive line hasn't had the best pass rush, but they have two bookends that are, their defense has been great against the run, stopping the runs. They have two bookends where obviously their pass rush gets overstated, but I think that this is going to be one of those games where Estime is not going to be able to have the success on the ground that he's had weeks in the prior weeks, which means they're not going to have like these 30-yard gainers on the ground, which means it's going to be more yards for Sam Hartman, which is reason for me taking his over.
Makes sense. Good college games this week. Really good college games.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to be at two of them. So
before we bounce, how are you feeling about Bama? Is it over? Is the run over? Like what's the stage here? What's the
I wasn't on Bama this year. I thought they were a year away. They have the youngest team in the SEC, and obviously it shows when you have like all those freshmen on the offensive line. But I think that people are kind of overstating last week's game. Like Saban had to start those quarterbacks because you can't do the what ifs. Like you can't do the what ifs with two quarterbacks that, want to compete. I will say this, Parker Stats of War on Twitter, he made a great point about Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe is completing over 80% of his down the field passes with 0 turnover worthy balls. All of his turnover worthy passes have been in the intermediate, and he's been great at short passes. If Alabama, and this is Tommy Rees, if he can adapt and turn this into, we're either throwing dinks or we're throwing bombs, everything else is runs, their offense will be just fine. This week I am fading them, not at the 7. This game feels like a 7-point victory for Alabama. If you tell me Ole Miss covers, I don't care because I'm on Ole Miss plus 13.
What was I going to ask you? What I forget what the hell I was thinking, but how many wins do you think they end up with?
9.
Yeah, over/under's 8.5. I don't.
Yeah.
You think they're getting a 9?
I think they could squeak 9. I mean, if they win this game, then they play. I was more afraid of Tennessee than I was at LSU, and then I just think that LSU's biggest problem right now is like their secondary. So if you have a bad secondary against a quarterback who's struggling, like that's the great neutralizer for the young quarterback. So like I was afraid of LSU at the beginning of the year, but I talked about it in my preview that for them to beat Bama, they're going to have to. They have a brand new secondary. They're going to have to get some good quality starts out of them. But I wouldn't play 8.5. I don't think it's even worth it. Like Alabama's they're just a year away from being old enough to being relevant. Like,
and they're gonna have to they're gonna have to hit the portal and write a check for one of these kids to play quarterback because they just don't have the elite talent.
I think they start saying as a freshman next year.
Okay. Yeah.
They have the number 1 quarterback, number 1 or number 2. You know how the rankings are coming in, and the only thing that I think keeps him from being a starter as a freshman with Alabama's current class right now is just his physical size. Like he's still kind of got some baby size on him.
Right.
But if he has a good offseason, get some real size on him, he's no Dylan Raiola in terms of thickness, but if they can make him thick, it'll be his offense.
On that note, we will bounce.
Let me get my sleeper.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, let me pull it up right here. So I did a 3-legger sleeper. Christian McCaffrey, at least 1 rushing touchdown. Pretty self-explanatory. Sam Hartman, I just talked about that. Hudson Card, over 255 passing yards. I'm going to be very clear. I am not betting on Hudson Card because I already have him in 2 sleeper plays. I have him a sleeper play and I have him in Prize Picks. So I don't want to triple dip on a guy like Card. But Card, Purdue put up 403 yards last week. I think they can do the same thing against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's only like 80th in EPA per pass on defense. It's going to be a shootout. I'm on the over in that game as well. Friday Night Lights in Purdue in West Lafayette. It's going to be a fun game. So that's my sleeper. $50 wins you $260.
Check out Sleeper. Check out Pickett. Hall of Fame bets. Boys, appreciate it. Brad, Josh, Brian. We'll be back 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. We got Thursday Night Football to talk about. Appreciate you guys listening. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you guys tomorrow.